Hello, I'm Princess Serena, not Princess Serena, and today I'm going to show you my fantasy pin collection. I thought this shirt was fitting because dreaming is kind of like a fantasy. So if you didn't know, a fantasy pin is a Disney-inspired pin with Disney characters, but it's completely legal because it's not copying any molds of existing Disney pins, and it's not saying copyright Disney on it, so it's not claiming to have been a real Disney pin. And it's not tradable in the parks, but you can trade among other Disney collectors, which most of these I have traded some of my authentic Disney pins for their fantasy pins because they fit my collection. And usually fantasy pins run on the bigger side and they're very detailed and they're absolutely stunning. So without further ado, let's get into it. So here's a Coco fantasy pin, and just to give you an idea of how huge this is, here it is in my hand. And the back typically is either blank or it has the creator on it or maybe the series it's in, but it's never going to say copyright Disney. This is another one in the same series. I'm not sure how many there are out there, but I do know there's a Miguel one as well, but I was only able to trade for these two, and I like the design of these better. Also, it is harder to find pins with these two on it, whereas I do have some Miguel pins already, and these are definitely my favorite Coco pins in my collection. And here they are together. I just think they complement each other so well. Here's a closer look at them. I think this pin is extra special. Not only is it stunning with all the glitter embellishments all around the pin, but it just really brings out the message of the movie with joy letting sadness touch the core memory, because you can't have joy without sadness. Here's the back. It looks like there are only 100 made, and it has the initials SP, so maybe that's the creator's initials. Just the happiness on Bing Bong's face being with Riley all the time, and then it reminds me of the scene where he sacrifices himself and says, "Oh, take her to the moon for me," and it gets me every time. The back's a tad dirty, but it looks like it's a limited edition 50. Here's a smaller one, but this one actually has a movable element. Depending on which mood you're feeling, you can just turn it around. It's super easy to turn, does not get stuck. I love all the faces and how they just blend into their color. It's really cool. This one is definitely the biggest one I own. I love how this one takes place on Earth. Definitely most Wally pins take place in space because it's a more scenic atmosphere. But I like how this represents Earth before they all come and make it all nice with the plant. And I love that instead of flowers, he's giving her utensils that he found, and she's so happy, and it's just adorable. And then the back says, "Love is the greatest power on earth, series 2. And then the hearts make a shape of a heart. How perfect is that? This resembles a series that Disney actually makes, which is the profile pins, but I'm not a super big fan of those. But this one I really like, and I like how it's an actual scene in the movie where she just sees the light bulb and she touches it and it lights up and it makes her all happy. And then the background details of the silhouettes of the planets is really cool as well, and it's just the color of her white on the red background. Oh, the back says limited edition 100. This is one of my favorite lines for sure. I don't want to survive, I want to live. And like I said earlier, you know, the outer space ones are gorgeous. I am a sucker for those pins, and it's really cool that it's the silhouette of them. I feel like I haven't seen that before. And then you see Earth, and then just sparkly for the outer space section of the pin. Disney Channel is definitely my biggest collection, which a video is coming. I'm just waiting for a couple more pins to come, but this is a Lizzie McGuire fantasy that I actually traded with the creator herself. It's a pin-on pin, and all the colors are just super reminiscent of the Lizzie McGuire series. This was actually one of my first Disney Channel pins in general, and it's small, but I really like it. Because who isn't a Sugar Mama fan? Another fantasy profile. This is definitely my favorite just because the detailing on the background, which you can't really even see when it's on my board, but when you put it to the light, you can see it all clearly. The spy badge, his disguise as a pet, Dr. Doofenshmirtz, and you see Phineas as well. And the back is just too perfect with the tail being the question mark. I got this Perry the Platypus one as well with the same person that made the Perry profile. I forgot to say traded with the actual creator himself, and it's just him eating a Mickey Haagen-Dazs bar, which is perfect because that is definitely my go-to snack when at the Disney parks. It's just so good. His logo again. I'm gonna show these Gravity Falls ones at once. So we have the journal and the theme song. This is definitely the one that resembles like a fantasy pin the most. Like I feel like these aren't meant to be like Disney fantasy pins, like more like a non-Disney pin, because there is a huge Gravity Falls community that's not necessarily huge Disney fans, if that makes sense. But I count them as Disney Channel fantasy pins. This one's soft enamel, which you could see with the glare. It's Waddles. And then this one, I don't even know if this one's actually supposed to represent Gravity Falls or not, but it looks like Bill Cipher, Trust No One. I traded for this one because if you didn't know, so when you spend a little too much on pins, you put yourself in pin jail, but of course you're just visiting because you'll get yourself out of there. You'll break out one of these days and buy more pins. And then I got another one. I know there are quite a few in this series, and if I had more, I would display it like this. The next one here, and just keep going and have them all connected. I think that'd be really cool. I know there's a bunch of these from the same creator. This was too perfect to pass up. I had to commemorate this. I know it's not a time we want to remember, but it's definitely a time that really made me expand my collections and dive myself into the pin community a lot more. And I have a little side Minnie and Mickey collection, which I made a video on as well. But I think this one's so cute. They're staring into each other's eyes like I have you no matter what. Here's an overview of all the pins. So that brings us to the end of my fantasy pin collection. I hope you enjoyed, and I'd like to know if you guys collect fantasy pins. And if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe for more pin content from me. And as always, take care of yourselves and have a magical day. Bye!